Well, hello. How are you today? This video makes me I changed the background to have fun for the Lionsgate portal and our full moon. The Lionsgate peaks on the 8th of August, and the full moon is the 9th. That's 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning. So they're very close together. And officially, the Lionsgate portal is open the 28th of July to the 12th of August. And so it's just a heightened time of energy because the brightest star in the sky is Sirius, or the dog star. Sirius is conjunct, so like on top of the sun, our star, at the same time. So think of like two powerful stars colliding and how bright that shines. And so it's like a flooding or a burst of light. And light has the capacity, right, to show us things, right? It'll cast a long shadow. So we have to look at our shadows too. But that's part of the opportunity of healing with the Lion's Gate, is like the brightest sun and the longest shadow. You can look at it that way. You might be overcoming some shadow aspects of yourself or in others, or, you know, cleaning up your life in many ways at this time. You also might be trying your best to up level your life and shine more than you have in the past. And maybe it's time, like if maybe you're ready, if you're ready to shine. And so some of you will use that Leo strong confidence and, hey, I'm worth it. I deserve, I'm ready. I can handle this. Bring it on. Some of you will be in that energy, right? Like, no, I can handle that job. No, thanks. I'm not your little slave worker. I'm actually talented. I'm your equal here. Or, hey, that's what I'm worth. That I'm asking for a raise. That's the salary I'm worth. I know it. So some of you are at that level of confidence, and you're going to be ready to fly and just cut cords and done with whatever has been holding you down. You're ready, like a kite just flying. And others of you are going to feel like you want that, but you see the long shadow that is cast and that you need to overcome, and what you need to do in order to get there. And so it's all beautiful regardless of what stage you're at, but it's an opportunity. Now, a lot of people say it's a good time to manifest as well, because it's like the Lion's Gate in Christianity and Judaism was the gate that Christ went through on his ascension after the crucifixion. And so there's, again, this symbolism of rebirth and rising. And some, you know, depends, would be a sacrifice. But I believe more in, whether it's religion or not, I believe it's more of a rebirth. It's an ascension to another dimension, another level. And so it's powerfully calling everybody to grow. Okay. It's calling on all of us to up level and grow. And so it's a great time to manifest. And manifesting isn't just like, you know, I visualize something and so it happens instant. Manifestation does work, and it's subtle. And I don't think many people master it. I think you get into phases of your life where you're in a flow, you're in a zone, you're trusting yourself, you're confident, things are going well, you're starting to like feel good about your abilities, your decisions, and good is coming in. And so you trust that, okay, no, I can trust my gut right now. So your spider senses, your intuition is heightened, and you start making very aligned decisions for yourself. And so it flows. Then does manifesting happen? Yeah. because you're in a flow. And that's when sometimes you can get in such a strong aligned state with yourself. Okay. It's not, ooh, send me this. It's like strongly aligned with yourself that you will magnetize and repel what you need and what you don't want. And so that's why sometimes when you're in a heightened state of with your own energy, with your own energy field, with your own confidence, your worth, your basically though with your self-trust, like with your intuition and your self-trust, you get into a zone where, okay, I need this, universe, and you trust it, and so things happen. But it's also not about like a made to order, okay, universe, I need like a red car and it has to show up vis-a-vis a friend on a Sunday, and it's got to have, no, it's not like a checklist made to order list. If you need a car, say, universe, I need a car. And then you're going to be surprised how it plays out. You have to be awake enough to see the opportunities. Sometimes, yeah, could you be gifted a car? I suppose some people have been. Could it be that the car comes to you by someone that you know, saying, you know what, my mom never uses her car, like if you ever need to borrow it, like it's yours. Or it could be for a temporary thing that you needed it for, someone offers. It could be a discount or on buying one, that the car will come. It might not come exactly as you want. But this is where it gets tricky again. It's not a made to order service. I want a pizza and it's got to have pineapples and ham and onions. But it does have to be a little more specific to get what you'd really like. Like, universe, I want to make more money. Well, yeah, we all do. How? Under what conditions? So, universe, I want to make more money and I want to enjoy my work. I want to enjoy the work that brings me my money. You see what I mean? Without saying, it's got to be there and it's got to be this. So it's framing it to be very honest with what is the essence of what you are looking for, or what you'd like to bring into your life right now. Be specific enough about that, but be open to it coming in a different way, through different channels with different people than you thought, and recognize, oh, that's the opportunity. I asked for, okay, it's not my made to order checklist, but it has arrived. And that's what we can do when we're feeling super aligned and trusting yourself at a high level. Then you can start to manifest. So whatever is coming up for you this full moon Lionsgate, if it's heightened confidence, heightened alignment, wonderful, wonderful. You're in a zone. And if it's showing you what you need to do to get it more alignment, what really is not working, then you might feel a sense of a purge that needs to happen. So whether it's walking away or making a powerful decision that you've been holding off on to catalyze things to move forward. So let's take a look at the chart now. I'm gonna make sure that I have it open on desktop. Yeah. All right. How are you feeling with this energy though? Like, I definitely feel there's an intensity, like usual. I always feel a buildup on a full moon. You can feel the intensity of heightened emotion in the air from everybody, whether it's good or bad. Myself, I'm feeling pretty great. I'm more in the manifesting phase, even though outwardly it doesn't always look like it, but I know that I am. And so, let that be a message too, for those of you who your outward life might not look like much is going on, but there's a lot going on under the surface, like a like a giant volcano or a glacier or something, you know, that's moving rock and ocean for you to get your life going the way you want. That's where you got to just trust your gut. You know, think of how deep the anchor is, or sorry, not the anchor, the rudder. Think of a giant steamship, or like the Titanic, how deep the rudder would be in the water. Nobody sees it, but it's directing the whole ship. So adjust your rudder right now. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at this chart. All right. So as you can see, when the chart is cast for the Eastern time zone, it's a Cancer rising. And we've got 2 planets in Cancer in the 12th house, which is, not so easy. Why? Because the nurturing side, the sentimental, emotional, reviewing the past, thoughtful, caring gestures, it's in the 12th house, which is hidden, which means it's either going on behind closed doors, behind the scenes, could be going on towards yourself, but also could just be hidden from view or seemingly missing. It's suppressed. It's harder to see it. So that could lead to actually beautiful self-care, self-love energy in the air right now. Could lead to having some pretty good, hopefully good sleep and good dreams with Venus and Jupiter together in Cancer. It's beautiful. Could be a very restful full moon, ironically, but it could also be super emotional. You could have you know, you could be really missing something from someone or something from the past. You know, it's sort of like Cancer planets can take you down memory lane. It could also be, though, like I said, private acts of kindness and charity. So there's no performance to it. If you are cooking meals for someone who's in the hospital or just got out of the hospital and you're attending to them, nobody's giving you a hero cookie, but you're doing an enormous act of kindness, and it's a very spiritual giving act. So there's that. So let's take a look here, though, over at our moon in Aquarius, opposite our sun in Leo. So it's happening in the 8th and the 2nd house. So that's financial. So again, Eastern time zone includes Washington and New York, Stock Exchange and TSX in Toronto. It includes, you know, there's a lot of powerful decisions made along this Eastern time zone that affect everybody else on the continent, if not for sure and so we could see some shifting of well, the tariffs are shifting all the time anyway, so it's not even really a prediction, is it? It's just another rumbling, a financial rumbling. But you might also feel just more pinch or pressure with finances, but it's the sun in the 2nd house, so that can be very good for managing money or investing. You know, looking for work, again, upgrading your life, your prices, the wage that you ask for. The moon in Aquarius in the 8th house, very impersonal place for a very deep house. I mean, if I saw somebody that had moon in Aquarius in their 8th house natally, like if this was your birthday, I would expect the person to have a lot of issues with their parents, some sexual issues, because 8th house is sex, death, and other people's money. And the moon in Aquarius brings a detachment, a coolness, sensitivity, but coldness in another way, and brings like a weird kinky way that it plays out. The moon shouldn't be void in a house that is dealing with sexuality, you know? So is that another message based on what's going on right now with the ever prevalent Epstein case and Ghislaine Maxwell? Ghislaine, I should say. Ghislaine. Everybody has trouble pronouncing her name, but if you're in Quebec, Ghislaine. So yeah, that's in the air. That kind of deep issues regarding how do I say this, like aberration or detachment when it comes to sexuality connected to, you know, the deeper self. Sexuality and the Scorpio sign are supposed to be such an intense merging of energies, of souls, that by definition you are transformed by it. It's not a transaction. It's not using, it's not experimenting using someone else's body, mind, and soul. So Aquarius is not at home in that house. So the moon there in Aquarius needs to be, it's very sensitive to the point where it will hide it even from itself. And it will want to intellectualize and make things very rigid and fixed in a house that's supposed to be very fluid and receptive. So that's why I say things can play out as aberrations or kinkiness or weirdness or like a strange detachment. Now, when it comes to money and other people's money with moon in Aquarius, well, you know, having the moon in the 8th house would suggest that somebody does have to manage someone else's money or receives some sort of inheritance and or invests. But it depends on what planets it's connected to, how well that plays out, you know, and it's opposite the sun. So there could be, in this case, there could be money to manage, but opposition to how it's done, because there's nothing touching this moon except the opposition of the sun. So it's sort of standing alone. It does feel like a sort of lonely, weird moon. So again, moon and Aquarius people too can also be just really eccentric. You know, they can be really clever. They can innovative, and they think outside the norms, and they might again want to just do things differently than other people. And that can play out in interesting ways or really weird ways, but sometimes it's brilliant, other times it's just strange. But that's going to play out, you know, if it's finances, is this investing in some risky or very, very cutting edge, you know, robotics and AI for health, and, you know, all kinds of stuff that could come up with that. The moon in the 8th is also almost like detective-y, like it just sort of psychically knows some stuff that's going on, but that no one's talking about. But it can also be like a bit, you know, eccentric, like embracing your eccentric inner weirdo side, but you might feel a bit alone with it. Whereas the sun in Leo in the 2nd house, that's much more about somebody who would be like, at work, they would be the bank manager, they would be the HR person, they would be the one who's hired to be running the, you know, managing a team, or they could be working for themselves and they're out there, and it's much more sort of 9 to 5, regular kind of life, conservative, not rigid, but conservative, but standing out and leadership. And so we've got that coupled with this sort of It's almost like the bank manager opposes the, the introverted crypto person that's making money online, in the middle of the night in some other country. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Yeah, because like I said, these two planets are untouched, unaspected, except unto themselves. And again, because they're in Leo and Aquarius, they're fixed signs. And that makes the full moon a little more dramatic. When you have fluid signs, like we will next month with Virgo Pisces, it's more malleable. So the intensity sort of, okay, it can play out. You can adapt around things easier. When it's Leo Aquarius, there can be very rigid, fixed opinions, mindsets, actions, and they stand alone. So let's take a look at what else is going on, because we mentioned also Venus, Jupiter, and Cancer in the 12th, hiding there. Acts of kindness, a lot of rest, good sleep and dreams, charity and kindness, nurturing of other people. However, the only planets that is touching make a conflict here with Mars and with Saturn, Neptune in Aries, and Mars now in Libra. Mars in Libra is not the greatest placement. While Mars is in Libra, which is about 6 weeks or so, people want things to be easy. They want things to be fair, which is fine. They're rooting for the underdog. They want things to be harmonious and beautiful. It's a mediation and diplomatic type of Mars if it's used well in Libra. Somebody that could bring all sides together. You'll probably see a lot of talk about having meetings and meetings and more meetings and more meetings. It's not decisive and it's not strong. It's more about diplomacy and talking than action. So that is sort of interesting too, when you think on the world stage, maybe what's coming up with Mars and Libra. Maybe it's more time of talking than of things, than of dramatic actions, but there'll be lots of meetings and talking. However, opposite that, we have Saturn and Neptune in Aries, which they might want to fight. Those are difficult planets to have across from each other. Mars opposite Neptune can be self-undoing, self-sabotage. It can be manipulation. And Saturn opposite Mars is like, it sort of thwarts the Mars. Mars is already not strong in Libra. Saturn comes and just sort of crunches on it, restricts it, and it's not even strong to begin with. What this tells me is we might see prolonged, sort of unfruitful negotiations going on. Now, that could be in your own life, but that could also be on the world or political stage, but it could be in your own life. Tougher to negotiate decisions right now. Things are sort of, people are content to just have another meeting about the meeting. Somebody at the meeting is shutting down or diverting right when there could be a decision made. And so there's a need to delay and prolong. So that's a very frustrating energy that's coming up right now. But, Mars will move away from that within a few days or a week. So it's not going to color your entire month or anything. It's just coming up now more intensely. Pardon me. And squaring off with all of this Cancer, which is the nurturing, nice, sweet, you'll want to be a little more careful with that too, because when it comes to, let's say, prolonged negotiations or prolonged talks, or somebody sabotaging the meeting or sabotaging things going forward on subtle levels, I mean, Mars and Jupiter in Cancer could be the ultra people pleaser and could try to kill it with kindness and enable it. And again, to me, this is a stall. This is a stagnant sort of stall kind of energy with those planets. So let's see what else is going on of note, because as you can tell, there are some strong blue lines as well. So there are harmonies in the chart, but I just wanted to bring up the areas of note for caution, because full moons have that intensity, and the Lion's Gate is, as I mentioned, it's showing us where we need to move forward, where the shadows lie. So based on just Lion's Gate energy within yourself, look for areas where you are not asserting yourself as you need, where you're procrastinating and weighing things too long. Look for areas where you might be glamorizing somebody or not seeing somebody clearly, and where you are suppressing your initiative at times. And look for areas where you are overly people pleasing or giving or enabling them, like a mother or a father, when that's not what the situation requires. Mercury is also opposite Pluto here. So this is a caution that can make words very explosive over the next Lion's Gate phase. So if you have any unspoken tensions with people right now, you might want to lay low. You might want to think very carefully what you're going to say if you do say it, because the potential with Mercury opposite Pluto is to be triggered and say something you could regret. or you're the recipient of something that you won't forget. And powerful words when it comes to Pluto. Let's take a look where the chart does work well now, okay? So where the areas of flow. So as you see, we have like a mystic rectangle here again. So this is where it's going to flow very nicely. Now this, ironically, we have the Saturn-Neptune sextile Pluto in Aquarius. So getting that warrior energy on, harnessing that inner boldness that I think I'm ready to take a risk. I'm going to allow something to maybe get a bit more heated or advance or speed up because Pluto recognizes there's a transformation afoot. And if you're ready, you're ready. You can activate the Aries. Also, you can activate that Pluto with Mars. Look at that nice trine with Mars in Libra and Pluto. So could some of these negotiative energies or meetings or talks lead to something transformative? Yes. Yes. All depends on the mindset that comes to the table. There's a lot of resistance in a full moon. There's opposition in a full moon and resistance with the Aries, Mars, Venus, Jupiter aspect. There's stagnation and, manipulation, gaslighting in there. But Mars, Pluto, sextile, Saturn, Neptune, Aries, and also making a nice trine to that strong Leo, Mercury, and back again, sextiling Mars. For those of you ready, it could be time to like cut a deal. It could be time to make a new proposition. It could be time to open the gates and who you talk to, what you're willing to say yes to, there's big transformation in the air for those of you ready. Now, it can only transformation like that where it's like, yes, 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 around the table. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm going to use our example in Canada of Mark Carney. He's not pandering to Trump's games. He's bypassing him and making other deals. That's the kind of energy you need to manifest. If you get mired in, oh no, Trump said this, Trump said that. Oh, he's changing his mind. Oh, this is changing. Oh, it's back and forth again. And getting all depressed or angry about it or fighting him on his own terms, his own level, then you get mired in the gaslighting and the oppositions. But if you like, well, that's nice. We're going this way. You're over here. We're doing this. See ya. That's how you can make things happen quickly. So maybe there's a metaphor in your own life for that. Can you visualize, can you think of where in your life you could sort of circumvent or bypass something that is very heavy and dense that doesn't really need to be that way? A lot of the time, action and receiving and manifesting and moving forward is really like one decision away. And so it's often when you feel, again, aligned, you trust yourself. It's like, no, that's what I believe. That's who I am. That's what I want. That's what I'm going to do. You've got your target clear and you let it happen quickly and easily. So we have to be careful on this full moon of pandering and people pleasing and of gaslighting. Alrighty, moving on, because we have this beautiful manifesting mystic rectangle, excuse me. Now look at this. We also have a grand trine, a grand air trine going on at the same time, people. And this is beautiful because look at the configuration. If you take a look at this rectangle and then the triangle that points. So the whole thing is sort of like pointing upwards like a structure. Even the conflictual lines, everything's pointing upwards towards this quadrant, which is career and public perception or status or role. community and relationships, and the 12th house, the hidden. But it's pointing to Uranus in Gemini. The whole chart. Look at this. Even these lines, the sextiles, they almost make like a little, I'm sure there's a technical name, but we have a grand air trine pointing to Uranus in Gemini, and we have the sextiles and the mystic rectangle all pointing to this. So Uranus in Gemini. If you focus on the Uranus in Gemini and the air qualities, that means air is supposed to be, is communication, it's thought, it's ideas. It's supposed to flow quickly. It's not supposed to get mired down in control and debating and, light debating, but not like standoffs like some of the rest of the energy. It's not supposed to be covert, thus the gaslighting. So the way you're going to bypass and move things forward with your life is by in being inspired, communicating more rather than holding in. And I don't mean unleashing your rage on people. No, I'm talking about brainstorming or telling a story or just like sharing an anecdote or saying hello, or like, let's go make a phone call. Let's just do the reading and the research on something. Let's ask. Air should be open. Oh, let's just, like I said, curiosity and ideas and brainstorming. And if you're being met with any kind of, oh, well, okay, what's your name? Oh, well, I won't tell you my real name. I'll tell you my nickname, if that's okay. No, that's not transparent. What's your name? Don't put up with that. Don't put up with that gaslighting and getting it bogged down into, oh, did I do something and what could I do? And should I stand up and teach them something? Don't even bother. If it's not clean and clear and transparent, meaning a clear ask, a clear question and a clear answer, don't put up with games right now. The energy is very high with this air energy. You can see it in how I'm talking about it as I'm channeling the planets compared to the beginning, eh? The energy is very high. And Uranus in Gemini is very cerebral and it likes to reinvent. It's in the 11th house. This is a super social time. So unless you're exhausted or you're completely introverted, if you're burnt out, maybe you need to go into your 12th house, Venus, Jupiter, and Cancer, just have a blanket and a pizza and stay away from people. If you need to nurture yourself like that, then of course, by all means. But if you know, like, okay, you've been shy, you've been hanging back from all kinds of activities, you've been, not stepping forward on something you said you would do, you want to meet more people, but you're not, get out the door, man. Get out the door. Uranus in Gemini in the 11th house is the most social thing you'll ever find. And you might be invited because it's Uranus to something very unusual. Might be a band you've never heard of in your life. Could be an art exposition. It could just be some really interesting, eccentric, like people that think or live different than you for a change. And you'll meet lots of people through other people. It's a networking. And the word that I guess I was looking for here is Uranus in Gemini is the pinnacle in this chart based on the configuration. It's like a house with a roof, and each foundational corner plus the roof all meet at this beautiful Uranus and Gemini point. Now, people will not be super stable and committed under Uranus and Gemini in that house. It's not about that right now. That's sort of earth sign thinking. Okay? Earth sign thinking is, oh, I need to go to get something done. I need to go out and meet people. Well, and you want to meet somebody that's just like secure, lock and load, don't have to think about it ever again, you know, meeting 3 people. Uranus and Gemini is not that. You think about something like Uranus and Gemini is like going to Burning Man Festival. It's everything and everyone all at the same time. And it's not supposed to be stable. It's just supposed to stimulate you. It's supposed to move life forward. Right now is the kind of time where, like, I'll go back to that analogy of like you're trying to manifest a red car, okay? You need a car. Now's the kind of time with Uranus and Gemini, if you need a car, where you go to your local garage and you say, hey, I'm looking for a car. Do you know anyone who could lend me one or is selling theirs or something? Or which dealership would you go to? Sorry, I'm like very dehydrated these days. So then they say, well, you know, I know a guy, but I'm not sure. You'd have to go pass by, or you'd have to call them. So then do it. Call them. Go by that other garage. Go meet with Fred down the block who knows some people who have a car. And then that leads you to somebody else, and then you meet their wife and their kids, and you realize, oh, you like these people, and they invite you for coffee another time, but you're looking for a car. And then you continue down the sidewalk and you run into somebody you haven't seen in 5 years, and you start talking, and now you've got maybe tentative plans with them, and it turns out they know someone who's selling a car. Like this is Uranus and Gemini, okay? It's just fast and furious, no plan, no straight line. Somehow, through social activity, through and being transparent and clean and clear and just get out there, it's gonna happen. Things are gonna happen. And you can see this frenetic electric energy I've got with how I'm using my hands. That's another Gemini thing, is like hands, always talking with your hands. Sometimes that, as a Cancer, that drives me crazy when people are doing that, because I'm like, I hear you. You don't need to point. I get it. I feel it. Calm your hands down. But a lot of people gesticulate like that all the time. And with Uranus and Gemini, just going to get worse. And people will start talking faster, just like I am, because that's the energy of it. But you can feel how high this energy is right now, right? So don't get ungrounded. Like, don't lose yourself in this either. Well, this could go crazy. You could like meet 50 people and never find your car, right? You still have to, you still want to use this for a purpose, this energy. But it's amazing if you're out there right now searching for something new and open to something new and open to it coming in a different way than you ever thought. That's the most important thing. As you want to manifest, as you want to up-level your life, you can't have a prescription of exactly what it's supposed to show up like. You have to get the core qualities, the core essence of what you need and want very clear, so that you recognize that when it comes, even if it comes in a slightly different form. That's how life moves forward. That's how you manifest and get closer to the idealized thing that you're going for. All right, let's take a look now at the tarot. Talk about a high energy reading. All right. I'm honestly not feeling to do a lot of reading for each sign with this one. I feel like the message is pretty clear right now. So I'm just going to jump ahead to messages for your sign. And I'm just going to pull one quick card for your message, and I'm going to go pretty fast and furious like Uranus and Gemini. Also, it tends to be more accurate that way anyway. I have customers that used to tell me they would purposely push me to agitate me, because they said when you're under pressure and stress and you spit it out, that's when it's the most accurate. Okay. I'm like, well, I don't like feeling like that, but okay, it's true. So that's how I'm going to roll. All right, Aries, what's your message for the Lionsgate? You got the Lovers. It's all to do with your relationships and partnerships right now, and there's some air to clear with your partner. There's nothing really super bad going on, but there's just air to clear with somebody. It's more about expectations right now. It's not like some meltdown in your relationship with this person, but you do need to clarify some things about your expectations and theirs going forward in your relationship. All right, Taurus, what is your Lionsgate message? You got the 10 of Cups. Well, unfortunately, Taurus, what I'm hearing is like you want it all for everything. You want it all, but you're not always willing to work for it all. You want to be fully satisfied and have all your needs met and all your comforts and money and all your ducks in a row. But you're not always doing the work that brings that. I don't mean hard work like you're working on your job, you're making money. I'm talking about the inner work that brings those things. So if you're feeling overwhelmed or foggy brained or burnt out, or how come I don't have all the things I want, the missing piece is the inner work, the shadow work. You know, this is a Leo full moon. This isn't, Aquarius moon, Leo sun, and you're stuck there in Taurus with it squaring you. It's not your fun time of year. So your answer is, if you feel like you're missing something, what's missing isn't in the material world. It's not by more money or more material stuff or working 5 extra hours that solves the problem. What you're missing is the meaning side of things, the releasing old hurt, it's inner. All right, Geminis, what is your Lionsgate about? You got the Hermit. That's interesting. Well, you might find with all of this heightened energy in the air signs in Uranus, you might, especially if you're born at the beginning of Gemini, like the early 20s of May, you might find it actually quite intense, because Geminis always have this Jekyll and Hyde side to you. You know, you're extremely extroverted, and then you need to shut down and go within and have some time to yourself. So it looks to me like it's more the Venus, Jupiter, Cancer thing going on for you. You need some time alone, some time to withdraw, recharge your batteries, because it won't be long before you're up and running again. But yeah, you need to withdraw a little bit, just for a few days, till this passes. Or perhaps your whole Lionsgate has felt a bit like that. Maybe you've needed to just sort of decompress. There's just been way too much going on for you, and you need a period of recharging your batteries. Cancer, what's going on for your Lionsgate? Ah, the Fool. Not a better manifester than that. Cancer, if you're ready, you're at a rebirth. You're at a rebirth. You have to define your vision of what you want going forward right now. Just visualize and define your vision of what you want. Good things are coming because you've done so much work on yourself. Very good things are coming. And that Leo sun, those Leo planets are in your second house, should increase money. And Pluto's finally not opposing your relationships. I think you're in a very good position right now to just allow things to change without it being hectic or sacrificial or dramatic. Like, you're in the river, you're in the flow. Just focus on holding the vision of what you want. Leos, happy birthday, and this is your Lionsgate message. And you've got the 8 of Cups, so some of you Leos are wondering why is this happening? Why am I in the situation I'm in? Why is the world going this way? Why didn't it work out with such and such or so and so? So you've got to be careful not to isolate yourself and feel like self-pity. So I would say not all of you Leos, but a lot of Leos might be feeling that long shadow I've mentioned. You want greatness, you expect greatness from yourself and from life. And if you're not surrounded by it and you feel like you're not getting it, then you can get very depressed. What's wrong? What did I do? How come not at this level? How come, blah, blah, blah. So it just shows you what area of your life, if there's something that feels like it's really out of alignment with what you thought you would want in your life or where you thought you'd be, there's going to be some big decisions to make to get it on course again. But try to avoid the self-pity, like, why and what did I do? Like, you can be honest with yourself and say, okay, I made that decision and that led to this. And if I could turn back the clock, there were better decisions to make. But don't get into self-reproach, and crapping on yourself, because that's not going to get you ahead. It's not going to get you out of the situation. What gets you out is saying, well, I still want X or Y, still want to own a house, whatever it is. It's not impossible. Let's hunker down and see what I can do to reroute my life towards it. Yeah. All right, Virgos, what is your message? Very nice. The Magician. Well, just like the Fool, I mean, that's even stronger. Virgo, you're ready to put your plans in action. You've got a plan. You've got maybe a secret plan. You've got some stuff you've been banging out behind the scenes in your mind. You're ready to start preparing and launching. Now, ideally, you probably want to launch after your birthday or in and around your birthday. And those of you that are Virgo rising, take a look, like when does the sun cross the ascendant so that the sun is now in your first house? That's when you launch new ideas, new courses, new haircut. I don't care. But yeah, Virgo, you've had some things that you're preparing behind the scenes and they are ready now. And it's going to you're ready for a new chapter. The work is done, or it's really close to done. So bravo. Libra, what is your message? Oh, wow, the star. Look at that. So you're feeling some sort of hopefulness that you haven't maybe in a while. All of that air that we're talking about giving you a rise, excitement, and some dreams and ideals that you would like to reach, and you are. And even if you feel far away from them, you're in touch with them, because so many times, Libra, you can get depressed when life isn't beautiful and harmonious and fair. It's like, well, why bother then? Kind of attitude, or angry, things aren't fair. But this is gorgeous because now you have like a hopeful star. You have a dream, and it seems like you have a much closer idea to what you want. And it's not like I'm going to work so hard for this kind of feeling. It's more like, let the dream and the inspiration carry you. Let that inspiration show you what you want to do, what happens next. And that's that's a lovely way to do it, because you connect with people on the level of inspiration. Beautiful things can happen. Not everything has to happen nose to the grindstone in life, right? All right, Scorpios, what is your message? I'm going to just shut this because it's hot. There we go. Scorpio, what is your Lionsgate message? Ooh, adjustment, legal issues, decisions, final and firm decisions being made, which could involve paperwork or legalities. Doesn't have to, but it could. Yeah, so once again, not the greatest time of year for you when you've got you know, Leo and Aquarius opposing, squaring off, I mean, with you. You do have those nice planets in Cancer, so that'll help you flow a little bit, or just take this decision with a bit of ease. But it does sort of feel like it's something that's been in the air for quite a while, and now it feels like the decision is coming down on it. So I don't know if some of you have been waiting for divorce papers, maybe they come in. You know, if you've been waiting for a judgment on something, or maybe hopefully if you've been waiting for, you know, immigration papers or passport stuff, that maybe it finally comes through. But it could also be a judgment, you know, that relates to you having to rectify something, pay a fine, pay taxes, rectify something, you know, in your career, your reputation, something that it's something serious that's been in the air for a while, and now the decision is dropping. Sagittarius, what is your Lionsgate message? Well, you've got the King of Cups. So, King of Cups. Well, you might have a crush on somebody, or you might be feeling quite enamored with someone. Could even just be, you know, somebody that you look up to or admire. Can be a friend, can be a mentor, a teacher, colleague. Some of you, it might be a romantic thing, because the Knight of Cups is often like the card of sort of, you know, the romantic guy falling in love, courting somebody. So that's a possibility. And it's a nice place to be in. So yeah, I would just focus on how nice that connection is. And if you don't have such a person in real life, then it could be that, you know, again, taking some action to meet more people if you're looking for love. Could be that you finally declare how you feel about somebody. Could be that somebody comes back into your life and declares for you as well. And if there's really nobody, well, maybe it's finding a role model. And it doesn't have to be someone you know to be a role model. There's people we admire in society that you can look to as role models. Capricorn, what is your message? So you've got a very Capricorn card. You've got the King of Discs, which is pretty much you, Capricorn. What I'm getting for this is that you've already built a lot of structures and stability in your life and in your mind, even if your life isn't going perfectly, sailing along like you thought. You've already put a lot of work into building things on a certain idea or structure, or, you know, values or ideals of what you, it's like something that really that you've worked for all the time, and you continue to work for it all the time in the same way all the time. And what I'm hearing is you need to break out of your shell and break out of the mold in order to move forward into the new era. You need to really open your mind to new things and new ways of seeing life. And so I think there will be people that come into your life that challenge you. And you might see that as you know, somebody trying to subordinate you, or you might see that as dissent. How dare you question my authority and my methods, you know? You might. These people are sent to challenge you for a reason. And it is you who is to, you need to crack open your mind for the new world. Your ambition will always be there, and you will always find a way to find a long-term game within the new world, but you need to look at what the new world is now to get there. All right, Aquarius, what is your Lionsgate message? Youch. Okay, the Tower. Well, the moon in Aquarius is opposing the sun, and it's standing alone. Something or somebody's falling away from out of your life, and it's overdue. The Tower is never fun, but in the end, it's not really a surprise. It's always something that was really, when you're honest with yourself, it's like, yeah, that was hanging on by a thread. Or, yeah, I've been avoiding that for 5 years. Here it is. It's that kind of thing. That can be in any aspect. So unfortunately, or fortunately, the tower comes first with a crash and something you have to deal with. But in the end, it liberates you, because now you're not stuck procrastinating somehow. You're forced into facing something that has needed attention for so long, and it actually has been probably stalling many other aspects of your life. So try to embrace the Tower moments as, okay, I admit it. This needed to change. All right, now we've got domino effect, and now we're going to rebuild a new structure, a new foundation that is healthier and more solid going forward. And finally, Pisces, Poisson, what is your message for the Lionsgate? And you have the Four of Cups, Moon in Cancer. So you are in like a nice little restful cocoon, getting cozy, getting creative, getting snuggly, spending lots of time with your friends or your partner or your animals, crafting, staying home. I mean, I know that sounds like, yeah, I do that all the time, as a Pisces. Yeah, but sometimes it's done as an escapism, and it's avoiding life. And sometimes it's like diving in the fullest, and it's fun. And so Pisces, I see you having a lot of fun. A lot of fun right now. I think your Lionsgate is just like a creative or love like burst, which is awesome. All right, if any of you would like a reading, you know how to reach me, river-rain.com. And please like and share this video if you liked it, or leave me a review. I love that too. I hope you have an amazing Lionsgate portal and full moon, and I look forward to seeing what it brings.